And didn't it start snowing about then too? It seems like I remember that as part of the.
I know playing Boise out there once in the quarterfinals, that you could see it coming in the mountain. You thought it rained, but it was snow and it covered the field right quick. But the 82 was, they were winners. Tuck Willem was a great leader. Steve Bird was a great pass receiver. We had some kids that just wouldn't give up. Our first game, we really shouldn't have won. We played South Carolina State, and we had to kick a field goal. We had to block a punt, make a first down or two, and kick a field goal at the end of the game to win. And that was the opening game, or we wouldn't even been undefeated. And then the Murray game here was a great game on a Thursday night on TV.
ESPN,
when the students ran out on the field, and when we made the touchdown, and then they ran back out on the field when we made the extra point and went ahead 21-20. And we had to kick off from the 10-yard line. And I'm standing there thinking, they get a good run back and throw one pass or even a great run back, they could kick a field goal and win the game, because there was still a few seconds to go. And that was an exciting game. There have been a lot of exciting games. And I think we had some other teams that could have won the championship if we had been able to get some home games. I think even right now, I didn't realize it until I went to Richmond and I was talking to Mark Sandy, that you still got to bid. And we just never, at the time, I thought when we were really good there in the middle 80s and right up in the early 90s, we had some teams that could have won the national championship, I felt like, if we'd have got some home games. But we just couldn't get, the administration at that time was not, you know, just didn't support that, I put it that. You had to put up the money. And you can't totally, I'm not totally blaming them, don't misunderstand me. But our president at that time, he just didn't do those things. But I can understand, because we didn't draw like we should. You know,
and we didn't draw like Marshall and Youngstown. But Roy mentioned TV a while ago, and that was that Murray game. I guess it was one of the first night games over at the stadium. An outfit called Musco brought in those lights. Right. But Roy, and I've never asked you this question before, but in that stretch of time, in the late 70s and early up to about the mid 80s, we were on regional or national television like nine times in 5 years, and that really helped the financial coffers too. But that exposure was helpful in recruiting, I would think.
I was thinking we was on TV more in that time.
Maybe it was.
Yeah, because you had Turner that did games too, as well, and then we were getting on the semifinals as well as the finals in those things. But I thought we had some teams. I thought the team when Lorenzo Fields was a quarterback, had he not broke his leg there in homecoming, that was a possible championship team. And then I felt like the team we lost down there to Southeastern Louisiana at the end of the game. You know, that was another game. I
don't remember that very well, but I remember that guy jumping off sides on that possession down. Yeah. That cost us the ball.
Cost the ball. We would have run the timeout if it hadn't been for that. And I felt like that team was good enough to win it. I think the team that Marshall beat us up there. But see what was happening, your Youngstowns, your Marshalls, your Montana States, and those people were putting up the money.
Georgia
Southern, and getting the home games. The year we lost to Georgia Southern down there toward the end of the game was a good. That's when we had Elroy Harris there. So we had some probably better players in some of those years than the '82 championship team. But that team was just they were just a lot of chemistry, I guess you'd say, that kept them going.
They just didn't want to lose.
That's exactly right.
They refused to lose.
Refused to lose. That's right.
That team did, but the team Roy talks about that lost in the semifinal game in Louisiana, John Jackson, Aaron Jones, Elroy Harris, Tim Lester, all those guys were on that team. Danny Copeland.
Danny didn't play in that game. He was hurt.
He was hurt.
But he was on that team as well as Myron Guyton,
Myron Guyton. So there's, we've talked, there's one team had 6 guys wound up playing on Sundays.
Well, you take Myron Guyton and Danny Copeland, came from the same high school, as well as Jesse Small. And Jesse was a first pick of the Philadelphia Eagles. And then Myron had a Super Bowl ring. Danny had a Super Bowl ring. So that's 3 kids out of the same high school right there in South Georgia. that were great football players. And I think when Georgia Southern started football, it kind of hurt us in recruiting in South Georgia. Somebody's asked me many times, do you miss it? I miss those things, you know, but I don't miss the rest. I don't miss Saturdays. At first year, I missed the game day. I missed the strategy, but I don't miss it anymore. I knew it was time for me to retire. I got to the point I told my wife, I said, I don't want to go in another kid's home. I don't want to I don't want to look at another video and evaluate. I looked at every video. I evaluated every kid. I made the final decision with the recommendation of the assistant coach where we give them a scholarship, we don't. I said, I don't want to do that no more. And I said, I'm all the time telling the players that the school comes first. The players, the school comes first. And if you're not going to do the things that you got to do here to graduate in those things, then you need to leave. And I got to the point, I didn't want to do that anymore. So it's time for me to retire. I have no regrets, and I love retirement. I absolutely love it.
He says he doesn't play golf in cold weather, though.
No,
he used to have to go out in the cold, and now he doesn't have to go out in the cold.
I never forget one day out there last winter, I was playing golf, the first hole, and I was getting ready to putt. And it's cold. I said, gee, I'm cold, you know. And I looked up at my guys and I said, you know what? I don't have to be out here. I said, I used to have to be. That's my job. I picked my ball up and I said, see you guys, and went home. But I really loved my job, you know. It's just, and I think how sad it is for a person to have a job and hate to go to work. And I've heard people say that, you know, they hate to go to work. I love to go to work. It's just like Sue told me, and God, what a great coach's wife she's been, to miss and be gone as much as I am, as well as my family, my kids. But she said, you know, coming back on the plane Saturday night, she said, what are you going to do Sunday? I said, well, I'm going to go to church. What do you mean? She said, well, I was just thinking back, if you'd have been coaching Sunday, you'd have been in the office the first thing Sunday morning looking at that video. She always knew, and that's basically when I'd miss church. If we'd win, I'd probably go to church. If we got beat, then I want to get on that video just as quick as I could. And I think you got to do those things to win. You got to work at your job. And I love this university. And if anything Doug or somebody asks me to do that's going to make this a better or help this university, hey, I'm ready to do it.
Well, the three of us have quite a few years, if you add them up, and I don't think we regret any one of them. So I'm going to close this off and say we didn't even begin to scratch the surface. Maybe we could do this again sometime, but thank you for watching EKU Then and Now with Hall of Fame coach Roy Kidd. Thank you, Roy.
Well, thank you, Paul. And Doug, thank you. And boy, I tell you, you're suiting up there pretty good, young man.
Yeah.
Come a long way since the science class, I tell you.
That's right. See what
can you imagine? Can you imagine?
Me?
Can't you imagine though the years you look back, me at Madison, and you as a student, and look now, you're the president of our university. I'm very proud of you.
I appreciate that.